Okay, so probably Spider-Man made a video about why Batman would lose in a fight against Spider-Man. And whilst the whole debate about who would win if Batman and Spider-Man were to fight is a very complex one, and I think it's a debate for another time. It's a really complex one. It depends on how the characters would act, what amount of prep time they would have, what version we're talking about, um, what whatever. Like there's a lot of variables which makes it really hard to tell. Like I do think that Spider-Man would win, depending on the version, but whatever. I'll probably discuss it in a different video, but for now let's just stick to this one. So the first argument he makes is about feats, and I do think that feats are very important in this instance. Like for example, Superman. Uh, Batman can beat Superman because of kryptonite or red sun radiation, but that stuff wouldn't work on Spider-Man or Hulk or Iron Man, so you can't use that feat to justify Batman winning against Spider-Man. So yes, you do have to take feats into account, but not for the reasons he says. So he thinks that you have to be careful about applying feats because they might just be there because the author wanted Batman to win, either because they like Batman more or to progress the story. And I don't think that really matters. Like, Batman still did it. You need to analyze why and how he did it, to see if he can repeat the same actions in a different fight or in a different context. So the first example he gives is a reverse flash. As you can see in the image, Batman punched reverse flash, but we really don't know the context for this scene. Like, how was he able to do it? We're told that there wouldn't have even been a chance that he was able to do it because, it's improbable. But what is the context for this? I need more context for this. But that's not the only problem. Look at the next example. So, let's break it down. First of all, if you look at this image, the one currently on screen, you can see that it's a completely different comic. Hell, it's a completely different Earth. This looks like something from the Golden Age, which is like Earth 2 or Earth 1? I don't know. But it's a different Earth completely. But the one with Batman punching Flash, like, how do you confuse the two? How do you think that they're from the same Earth? Like, look at it. It's a different Earth. The art style, like the paper they used for the comic. Like, there's so many differences that, well, how do you confuse the two? How did you even confuse the two? Or are you just pointing this out to make it seem more improbable than it really is? Like, what is the point of this? I don't. And also, he uses this example from like a Super Friends comic, which like, is this even canon? What Earth is this? Was this just done as a homage to like a comic book cover? Because I know there was like a comic book cover with the League playing baseball, but like, what is the context for this? How did Batman actually do this? He, why not explain it or show it in its full context? I don't get it. And he also says that like the kryptonite thing doesn't work because he calls it like a snot rock or something, which is like really stupid. Like, people when they make these videos about why Batman's overrated or why he can't beat, I don't know, a certain character, they always undermine kryptonite. They pretend like Batman just painted a rock green and threw it at Superman, which isn't the case. Like, when it comes to Superman, his fighting style is, based around his powers. He relies on his powers and mostly his super strength to beat an opponent. But when you take that away and make him drained or like lacking in energy, like Kryptonite tends to do, yeah, Superman doesn't really stand a chance. he's not that good of a fighter without his powers. So obviously Batman will beat him because he knows pretty much every martial art, and if not every, he knows a lot. Then we have his argument about prep time. He uses an example of Batman versus the Hulk, and how if they're given the objective to kill, the Hulk would win. And that's all well and good. I'm not here to debate about that. But here's the thing, the objective to kill part. Because like Batman does have a no kill rule. Sure, this does vary from version to version, which is why you need to specify which version of Batman you're talking about. But the no kill rule is very general, very it's a very big part of Batman that is in a lot, if not most versions. So like Batman won't really try to kill the Hulk, which is a really important thing. Like you need to take into account how these characters would behave, even if it's their first encounter. Hell, especially if it is their first encounter. Like for example, we have Superman. Superman holds back. He doesn't use 100% of his power. It was explained like in Justice League Unlimited, for example, the whole world of cardboard speech. Yeah, like Superman, at least the good versions of him, don't use 100% of their power. Like, for example, if Superman was, a killer, had no problem with it, I'd say he would be able to kill a lot of people. But does, he does not kill. He holds back his power to not kill. So yeah, that's why you need to take into account how these characters would behave. This is a problem I have with series like Death Battle, for example. They never take this into account. They also never specify which version they're talking about, but whatever. He talks about how prep time is sort of the last resort. Like when a Batman fan is losing an argument or whatever, they might just say, "Oh, but when Batman has prep time, he can beat anyone." And I'd say it depends on the context. Like if that's the only thing they say and they never elaborate, then yeah, sure, you've won. But if they do elaborate, well, there's still a debate to be had. He also asks the question of how can Batman beat the Justice League? And I have seen people ask this on numerous occasions, but it was explained. Like, I guess it also varies from version to version. Some versions may explain it, some may not. But, like, take Justice League Doom, for example. We have Superman. I've already explained that one. What about Wonder Woman? Easy, just trap her in a scenario where she cannot win a fight. She won't give up uh, while fighting. Like she's not gonna back away or anything. So just trap her in a scenario where she cannot stop fighting until she dies of exhaustion. We have the Flash. You can just keep him. A similar thing to Wonder Woman. Just keep him running until he gives up or like runs out of energy, dies of exhaustion, whatever. Martian Manhunter, fire. It's a pretty big weakness of his. There's also a virus that kills Martians, so that can be used, I guess. Although, like, I don't think Batman would have access to this. Green Lantern. Well, his powers are based on, his emotions. So if you make him afraid or uncertain or sad or whatever, like you need to manipulate his emotions essentially. Then his powers would either get weaker or he would just lose them temporarily until he regains that whole emotion. This was how the fuck did whatever. So I'm not sure why people pretend like the question of how could Batman beat the Justice League is never answered, because like it was answered in some versions. Like I really have no idea where why people are asking this. Is this like a CinemaSins thing where you just sort of ask questions for the sake of asking questions? I really don't know. He then talks about like how prep time doesn't really work because there are like infinite possibilities, and like he later talks about the Hellbat suit and how Batman can win numerous fights with it. He can defeat most opponents, probably Spider-Man as well. So like, yeah, just the Hellbat suit that can beat a lot of characters, including Spider-Man. So why go on this rant about how there are infinite possibilities when like there really aren't? And lastly, he talks about actually setting up a fight between the two characters. And aside from the problems I've already mentioned with this video, I don't really have any more. So yeah, that's about it. I might do my own version of this whole Spider-Man versus Batman thing, but it would take a very long time to actually sort of predict what they would do. Not sure how to put it, but it would take a lot of effort and whatever. So I might do it, might not. I don't know, depends. Do you want to see it? But yeah, that's about it.